you to escape your stressful life and go off into a whole other world. Most people have wanted to do this before, but it just seems so improbable. However, what these people don't know is that underwater there's a whole other world just waiting to be seen, and the best way to access it is through scuba diving. Scuba diving is an activity that actually allows you to breathe underwater. According to our survey results, most of you have never been scuba diving before. I have been scuba diving since I was about 12 years old, and I have enjoyed it ever since. Today, I'm going to share my experiences with you, and we will look into the requirements, the equipment, the places, and the wildlife that you see when you go scuba diving. Let's take a look at what it takes to become a certified scuba diver. Scuba is an acronym for Self-Contained Underwater Breathing Apparatus. To go through a certification course, you must be about 10 years old. Usually you go through the course, and at the end you receive a certification card. You cannot go scuba diving without this certification card. As well as being 10 years of age, you should also be a satisfactory swimmer. This usually means that you can complete about 16 laps in a pool, and you can tread water from 15 to 20 minutes. This is usually a two-part class, and you have a classroom setting where you learn the science of diving and things you will encounter when you're in the water, and you have a pool classroom where you actually get to experiment with the equipment. Let's take a look into that equipment. First, we have our scuba tank. This is actually what holds your air while you're under the water. This is a typical scuba tank, and it holds about 3,000 psi of air. Usually when it gets down to about 500 psi is when you want to get it refilled. The scuba tank is connected to your BC vest, which is actually where you place your arms and is attached to you. It goes over the top just like this, and it hooks on the rest of the tank. The BC vest is connected to the tank, and you can blow it up with air so that you can float. And when you are sinking to the bottom of the water, you can release the air. Then we have our regulator, which is where the air actually comes to you. That goes on the top here, just like so. You actually breathe from this piece here, like that. You have a fire hose also on your regulator. This is in the event that your buddy that you're diving with runs out of air. You can then give them this and give them air off of your tank so that the two of you can reach the top safely. Most regulators also come with a dive computer. This is a very useful tool. It shows you how many psi's of air you have in your tank, which is very helpful so you can always know when you're running low. It can show you how many feet you've gone, what time it is, a lot of things like that, and you can store information as well. At the back on here it has a compass. This way if you get lost, you can always find your way back. Also when you're diving, you always wear a mask, which will allow you to see under the water. It should be snug, but not too snug. And it may or may not be accompanied by a snorkel, which allows you to breathe while you're floating on the top of the water. Last but not least, you need your fins. There are a few different types of fins. I have two styles to show you here. These really help to propel you through the water. This first type just slides onto your feet, while this type, as you can see, it's a little bit larger, and it actually uses a booty, which you put on your foot and then you slide in as the opening is a lot bigger. So now that we have all the information down, we can take a look at where we get to go scuba diving and what you get to see. Probably the most popular place to go scuba diving is a reef, and more particularly a coral reef. Coral reefs are basically underwater ecosystems, and they're usually in a tropical environment. Some of them have actually been found to be over 50 million years old. So as you can imagine, a lot of wildlife has been there over these 50 million years, and they're very, very busy. They can actually be described as underwater cities, like it's New York City underwater, basically. Locally, there's a lot of reefs over on Fort Lauderdale and the Pompano area. Beautiful reefs over there. And actually in Boca Grande, which is pretty close to us, there's an artificial reef there. Another place that you can go scuba diving is a spring. Springs are very beautiful fresh water. They're usually chilly. What a spring actually is a natural occurrence of water that flows out of the ground. It can be in sand or it could be in a rocky area. An example of a sand spring is Alexander Springs, which is located near Ocala, Florida. It's very, very beautiful. Comes right out of the sand. Has a lot of trees and things like that around it, as it's just one confined area that a spring is in. And they're just really, really beautiful, fresh water, and they have a lot of minerals, which settlers back in the day found very helpful. It was very useful for their minerals. Another type of popular spring is where you find a waterfall. A waterfall is where the water flows from the rock coming from the side instead of up from the ground. Still the same idea, that's just a different type of spring, and they're always very beautiful to dive. You can also dive lakes and rivers. Seas are less appealing as a scuba diver because the visibility is very, very low, so it's harder to see what's going on around you. A reef you may be able to see miles out, whereas a river you may only see this far in front of you. So they're a lot less colorful because everything's a lot darker, and usually the reefs have a lot more to see. No matter where you go, you have to take into consideration the wildlife that you're going to encounter. Reefs have a variety of different wildlife. They have all shapes and sizes of fish, and some of the scarier animals that you will encounter. One of the most feared predators that we see is the shark. Sharks usually do not go hunting for scuba divers, but they can be very dangerous, so we have to keep our eye out for them. Usually in a shark attack, they confuse the swimmer for a seal or something that's usually part of their diet, and they make that mistake. But actually sharks are not as scary as they appear to be. They're actually very interesting animals, and you can go on particular shark dives to interact with them. I actually encountered a shark once. I was very new to diving and I was very, very scared, but the animal didn't even know I was there. So that's an example of how they're not as dangerous as you would think. Also, there are eels and barracudas. These animals are very, very curious, and they are not afraid to come right up to you. So they're attracted to shiny objects and anything that looks different to them. They will approach you and they will get very, very close to your face. They are not afraid. So that can be very scary. But you just have to always remember to stay calm. Freshwater also has its scary animals. For example, especially here in Florida, alligators are the big one that everyone's afraid of. These are big animals that are in the water, and when you're in their environment, you are susceptible to their danger. So you just always have to be wary of what's around you, and of course always stay calm. Scuba diving is a great way to encounter another world. As long as you remember correct procedures, you can see a lot of great interesting things. Scuba diving is advancing and it's becoming a more and more popular hobby, and now you know why.